Yo, Bangladesh is lit, but not in a good way. We're talking massive protests, angry crowds, and a whole lot of tension. The streets are filled with people demanding change, and the atmosphere is electric with their energy. Young people are leading the charge and they're fed up. They're not just protesting for the sake of it, they have real grievances and demands. Think of it like your internet going down when your favorite show is about to drop. Except way more serious. This is about systemic issues that have been brewing for years. This is about their future, their freedom, and their country. They want a better life, more opportunities, and a government that listens to them. This isn't just some small-time student riot. This is a full-blown movement with a clear message. Things need to change, and they need to change now. This is big, and it's got the whole world watching. International media outlets are covering the story, and people around the globe are paying attention. Why? Because what happens in Bangladesh doesn't stay in Bangladesh. The ripple effects of these protests are being felt worldwide. When a country this big starts shaking things up, everyone feels the tremors. The youth of Bangladesh are making their voices heard, and the world is listening. This is a pivotal moment, not just for Bangladesh but for youth movements everywhere. Their courage and determination are inspiring others to stand up and demand change in their own countries. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the youth of Bangladesh are not backing down. They are fighting for a better tomorrow, and their struggle is a testament to the power of collective action. This is a youth uprising that could very well change the course of history. Bangladesh isn't exactly new to this whole protest thing. They've got a long and feisty history of standing up for what they believe in. From fighting for independence to demanding democracy, these folks don't back down easily. So, this latest round of protests, it's not coming out of nowhere. It's like the latest episode in a long-running series. There's a history here, a buildup of frustration, and a feeling that enough is enough. Okay, so what's got everyone so fired up? Well, it's complicated, like most breakups. You've got allegations of corruption, concerns about human rights, and a general feeling that the government isn't listening to the people. Imagine your government promising you free pizza every day, but then you end up with nothing but empty promises and a rumbling stomach. That's kind of what's happening in Bangladesh, except instead of pizza, it's basic rights and opportunities. Section 4. The government claps back too hard, too fast. Now, when the protests started heating up, the streets of Bangladesh were filled with passionate voices demanding change. The air was thick with tension, and the energy was palpable. People from all walks of life came together, united in their cause. But the government didn't exactly offer everyone a nice cup of chai and a listening ear. Instead, they responded with a heavy hand. Riot police were deployed in full gear, ready to confront the masses. The atmosphere quickly shifted from hopeful to hostile. They brought out the big guns, think internet shutdowns, curfews, and a whole lot of muscle. The digital blackout was particularly jarring, cutting off communication and leaving many in the dark, both literally and figuratively. The streets, once filled with chants and banners, now echoed with the sounds of batons and shields clashing. The government's show of force was unmistakable, and it sent a clear message: dissent would not be tolerated. The government says it's just trying to maintain order, to ensure the safety and security of its citizens. Officials held press conferences, justifying their actions and emphasizing the need for stability. But critics are calling it a crackdown on dissent. They argue that the government's actions are stifling free speech and suppressing the very voices that are calling for change. The signs and banners reflected this sentiment with messages of defiance and resistance. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. It just makes things worse. The confrontations grew more violent, with fires breaking out and chaos reigning in the streets. The situation was spiraling out of control. The escalating violence only deepened the divide between the government and the protesters. Each side dug in their heels, unwilling to back down. The scenes of chaos and conflict painted a grim picture of a nation in turmoil, struggling to find its way forward. Section 5. Bangladesh. Feels the heat, society and economy on edge. All this unrest isn't just bad news for the government. The whole country is feeling the heat. The economy is taking a hit, businesses are struggling, and everyday life is disrupted. Imagine your favorite store being closed because of the protests, or your internet being down so you can't even binge watch your sorrows away. That's the reality for many in Bangladesh right now. Section 6. What happens next? The future is uncertain. So what's next for Bangladesh? The country stands at a crossroads with its future hanging in the balance. The streets of Dhaka and other cities are filled with voices demanding change, justice, and a better tomorrow. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine. The uncertainty is palpable and the air is thick with anticipation. People are wondering if their voices will be heard, or if their efforts will be in vain. Will the government listen to the people and make changes? The demands are clear, but the response from those in power remains to be seen. Will they take meaningful action, or will they continue to ignore the cries for reform? Will the protests fizzle out? Movements often face the challenge of sustaining momentum. As days turn into weeks, the initial fervor can wane. Will the spirit of the protesters endure, or will it fade away? Or will things escalate even further? The potential for conflict looms large. Clashes between protesters and authorities could intensify, leading to more unrest and possibly even violence. The stakes are incredibly high. One thing's for sure, the world is watching. International eyes are fixed on Bangladesh, monitoring every development. The global community is keenly aware of the situation, and their reactions could influence the outcome. What happens in Bangladesh will have ripple effects across the region and beyond. The impact of these protests could extend far beyond the country's borders, affecting neighboring nations and potentially altering regional dynamics. It's a reminder that even in the 21st century, the fight for freedom and democracy is far from over. The struggle continues, and the outcome in Bangladesh could serve as a powerful example for other movements around the world. The future is uncertain, but the determination of the people is undeniable. Section 7. Stay woke, Bangladesh. Your voice, your future. To the young people of Bangladesh, stay strong, stay peaceful, and most importantly, stay woke. Your voices are being heard, and your struggle for a better future is inspiring people all over the world. The fight for change is never easy, but it's always worth it. Remember, the future of Bangladesh is in your hands. Make it count.